Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is your host, Vivian S. D. Guzman, the #1 money magnet activator here at My Spiritual Money RX. And today is the official day of Mercury retrograde. So, as you can see, the technology has tricked us a little bit last week, and we had the first episode of Surrender and Release, and I had to surrender because the electricity just went down. So it's all good. So today we're going to do a recap of what we talked about in Surrender and Release. And in today's show, you're going to hear from real people that actually have gone through their own stages of this surrender and release to get to the flow. So last week we talked about what is surrender. Surrender means moving beyond the parameters and perceived safety of your ego, right? And turning your well-being to the unlimited realm of intuition, divine source, God, universe. That is the definition by Sonia Choquette. So we know that the ego itself is very limited. It's very biased. And it finds solution from a defensive and distorted point of view, which prevents you from feeling at peace because it feels like you're running a race and it seems like it's endless and you never get anywhere because you don't feel fulfilled or satisfied. Versus when you start listening to your own spirit, your own higher guidance, your intuition, your angels, your guardian angel, your divine messages, your downloads, then this actually gives you a more loving solution. It gives you a sense of fulfillment with whatever it is that you are pursuing in life, especially if you're aligned with your soul purpose. So what are the steps needed to surrender? We talked about, #1, we have to allow ourselves to feel our emotions from the heart because our bodies will reveal what's going on. #2, we know that surrender happens in stages. It's not a single event, right? It's not a single decision like I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be rich, and so it happens like that. Well, in your decision, yes, but it unfolds in different stages. So our special guest today will share with us how they went through their own journey and what are the stages that they have experienced, because we think that if we think about it, it's going to happen tomorrow, right? It doesn't work like that. However, in this show, you can see how we collapse that time-space reality to become a money magnet in 90 days or less in any economy. 3, we have to give ourselves permission to follow like one creative impulse or an urge, even if it feels like it's difficult, you don't have time. Like today, Mercury retrograde, how does my body respond to that? My body says, go to the park and do some meditation. So even if it looks like I'm super busy with my to-do list, I still put it on my calendar to drive to the nearest park, one of my favorites, and just revel in the beauty of nature. And 4, speak from the heart, even if it frightens you. So what I wanted to do is bring up one of my gold VIP clients, who is now actually one of my certified healers in the academy, and her name is Catherine Ong. Catherine Ong is a registered nurse. And in the beginning, when she started, she wanted to heal, but at the same time, she also wanted to run away because she started having fear, right? So these are some of the fears that came up for her. She had fear of abandonment, okay? She had fear of change. She had some form of guilt because her little kids need her. She has some form of judgment of some sort. And even she's criticizing herself for what is she thinking about? Why is she going to leave a job that's stable, right? Being a registered nurse, having a nice paycheck, especially now that it is COVID-19 time. So the nurses are paid pretty well at this time, probably 2 or 3 times the usual amount that they're getting paid. And she was having this fear, lots of fears coming up. And you know what happens when our mind feeds us fear? Well, either we believe it enough to make us do something, So part of her journey was she decided to go back to work. And she said, I'm just going to do this. I know I can do this. But remember, remember when she went back to work, I, as a mentor and coach, I would keep on asking her questions because she needs to get that aha moment, right? She needs to get the aha moment that, is that the choice you're making? Are you making someone richer? Or would you like to chase after your dreams and just make it all come true? All right, so let's bring her on now, Miss Catherine Ong. Welcome to the show. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon. I am
So,
great this afternoon.
all right. So share with the audience this surrender thing that you had to do
Yes.
your present job now. So give them a taste of your journey a little bit.
Okay, so I started as a nurse. I've been a nurse for over 15 years, but I used to do like 3 12 hours, shifts. And as soon as I stepped into the hospital, I would get all this negativity, this negative energy. It's full of like sadness, fears, frustrations, and I could feel all that. And but my secret passion was is healing others, and I would really like feel this joy like whenever I do healing, that the joy that I'm uh, bringing difference in someone's life, bringing transformations into their lives. And I used to do this as a, you can call me like a closet healer. But then when I met you, I didn't know I could turn it into a business. Like, what? This used to be my hobby. And only a few people know. And when you instill that in my mind, I had this fear of being seen, fear of judgments, fear of rejections, all this, and fear of the future, because I have to make money, I have to pay rent, I have to pay, I have bills. And that kind of took me to, doubt, a lot of self doubts. Like, can I really do this? And this fear of like being seen. But then again, I have this inner there's something in me that's like wanting me to come out. Like, how are you gonna serve others if they don't even know, if they can't even see you? So I have this fear of being seen. So as I work with Vivian, she's shifting like this poverty mentality in me and this victimhood mentality. All these fears are uh, going away, and I'm stepping into my power. I'm finding my own kind of like release, this freedom to come out and to be uh, who I am truly in my heart.
Saw a Facebook post just today that after you got this testimonial from a client that you did a healing on, like how did that feel to you?
I felt like I was on cloud nine. I was having like this, I felt so charged up with energy, like, but I feel that every time I do healing, and I know it's my path, spiritual path, because it gives you the most joy whenever I do it. And I wanna, and what like makes it like even better is like when I hear like right away, as soon as I get off, like after I'm done healing, they feel this transformations already. They're seeing it right away, immediately. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
And I remember one of our Gold VIP masterminds in one of the breakfast areas we usually hang out. Remember how we ask you to recite who you are, like declaring and owning that, like that title,
Yes,
right? So what was
yes.
that you said to all of us in the group that made you finally decide, oh, hey, I'm a business owner and I'm actually a healer? So what was that phrase? Do you remember?
Yes,
I am.
I am a restoration master.
Awesome. Right. And you are, rightfully you are. You've been invited in this group because we know that you are full of light. You're very angelic. And your energy, right? Like this joy and this light, you can't keep it to yourself because that's really selfish for us to have a gift and then not really bringing it out to the world. So congratulations. So you had to
Thank
surrender to
you.
all those fears and doubts and all kinds of fears, right? There's so many that you just said. I
Yes,
couldn't repeat it
yes,
all.
yes, a
And
lot.
finally, when you release that, okay, so the surrender is now your dream and your soul duty, so to speak, your job as a healer is now stronger than you were a nurse. You're also a healer. You're still a nurse, right? That doesn't go
Yes,
away. However, now there's like almost like an angel beside you saying, hey, let's do something else aside from what you're doing to help more people that are truly willing to get better and be well. So thank you,
yes.
Catherine, for gracing
Thank
our
you.
show. Thank you. Awesome. All right. So we know that that's one success story. And so I wanted to bring up another Gold VIP member of mine. And this lady, I think I've met her like maybe 2, 3 years ago. It's been a long time. And it's interesting because when I was in the beginning, right, a struggling healer, I didn't know how to charge. I didn't know what to charge. I couldn't even define what I was doing. I just tell people I'm a human MRI since I can read the energies and the body in 5D. Then eventually I saw that you could apply this in business because I can start identifying money leaks, money troubles, money worries, money stories, right? So Miss Pamela Raynon, so she used to do financial planning. I believe she still does. And then she shifted when she joined the group. So let us all welcome Miss Pam Raynon.
Hello.
Hello,
It's
Pam.
Hi.
Like
Can you
I
guys
haven't
hear
seen
me?
you for a while. No,
I know. Haven't seen you for a while.
I know, I know. So tell us how you started. Like,
Okay.
what was your journey? What did you need to surrender and release to
Wow.
get you here? Like, what changed since you started? Which
I
was
guess
what?
well, to start, I think my life was just I had a rude awakening of everything that was just happening in my life.
Right?
My career. I was in corporate for 13 years and I worked my way up there and then started to do work in this business ownership kind of situation and had lots of failures and rejections. Relationship wasn't working. I wasn't happy. I didn't know what my purpose was. I was a mess,
Mm,
right? And luckily, you and I have always kept in touch. So finally, early this year, is when you said, "Okay, Pam, what are you gonna do?" You go, well, I still can't decide. Well, but not deciding. You're really deciding.
mm,
So, like I always do last minute. So finally, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do this because I don't want to go back. I keep going around in circles, and I can't explain why. I was just my soul was just willing to do something different. And when I surrendered that, made that first decision, like things started to shift, and working with you, obviously there are a lot of hidden things that I needed to clear. The doubts, the rejections, all this fear of abandonment, like a lot of different things. But little by little, even up to now, I still get them, but I'm able to just snap it like that. Like, okay, I'm done. Let's keep moving forward. And it just gave me a sense of now I've built confidence, especially with what we're doing now, with this business that we're doing with PPE. It just took me to a different level. I'm still getting a lot of rejection, but you know what, it doesn't define me anymore. It doesn't stop me from moving forward. And I'm just excited for what's coming and just focusing on that, rather than thinking about, in the past or what has happened. uh, Really more of just focusing on where I want to be and focus on that goal, like you always said, like what do you want to happen, and just collapsing time, space, and reality and get that done in 2 months or 1 month rather than 10 years. So that's where I'm at. And it's been a journey. I love the beginning of it, and I can't wait, what's next for us.
And by the way, we did meet again, right? Through Up Level 2020. That's
Yes.
the event that we're going to be doing again on October 23. So I invite you guys to, if there's something missing in your life, because you may have had some money, like a lot of money flow, however, maybe you lose it right after you make it. Maybe the container is not set correctly. Maybe there's some money leaks that's happening in your life. Perhaps you tend to have a negative thought pattern or a negative loop pattern. In other words, the negative thought keeps on going around and around in circles in your head. And you'll notice that it's like a spiral that goes down the rabbit hole until finally you're at the very bottom. And then you realize you just spent 3 days, 10 weeks, 10 months of that negative pattern. And then you're like, what did I do with my life this whole year? You can blame COVID, lockdown, pandemic. However, is that a habit that you tend to blame something outside of you rather than make things happen for you, right? I was sharing that with my group yesterday on our Prosperity Mindset Bootcamp. I said, so rich people think that they create their own life. And unfortunately, when we have a negative thought pattern, we tend to be either in the poor, sometimes just in the middle class, because we are very comfortable with where we're at. And we were taught not to want more, right? Almost like you have to feel guilty because you shouldn't want more or desire more. Like it's a disease to desire more. Is it really a disease, Pam? Like, if you limited yourself to 6 figures, 100,000, 500,000, because remember when you said the decision, right? So when I told you that being undecided is a decision, you are deciding to feel lost at that moment, and you're deciding to not decide at that moment is still a decision.
Yes.
For those of you with decision issues, you usually have foot problems and ankle problems, correct? Leg problems. Cannot move forward, having to be stuck. So either a skin issue, a joint issue, a muscle issue, a ligament, something's there preventing you because you're saying, I can't do that. Like I can't run because of my foot. So it's like, almost like outside of your control. So poor people usually think, or those with a negative mentality towards money normally would think that life somehow happens to them. Do you see the difference, Pam? Like
Yes.
I know that from where you were when you began in March, and then finally she made a decision in August, like the last day of enrollment. May I still join the Gold VIP? So that was her decision, like last minute, obviously, super last minute. What happened then? What was that switch for you?
Wow. Because deep down inside of me, I want to do it, but obviously the fear of not having enough, to pay, right? It's always that fear. But again, being aware and where I was, even just the beginning of this year to August, I know I already collapsed a lot of things that I couldn't even imagine possible. So for me, wow, it's being aware and conscious of where you're at this certain, like being here at this certain moment. Just I always pull myself to that, like where are you at this moment, because otherwise I lose track, I lose focus, and that's when I call Vivian. I need to talk to you, right? But it's an amazing journey. So when I get the doubts or I get the fears, I just start focusing on the goals, on what I need to do, and just keep moving forward and fight for it, because there's something that I want to do in the future. It's not just for me, but obviously for my sole purpose also, that I wanted to make sure that I accomplish and leave a legacy here while I'm still here. So
Pam, would you say, because most people would say, is it really all about the money?
no. Nope.
Because at this time, like Pam was sharing with you guys, she's handling deals, figures on both sides, buyers and sellers in the, you can't even get it in your calculator, like millions, 10 millions, 100 million deals. They even have the billion deals. So there's so many zeros coming through every single day. And was that a reality for you before? I mean, did you even think about you're going to be able to do that? Like, what is that? Because we were calculating while we were coming back from Sedona, right? Like, would a 10 cents bonus, what would that do if the deal was like $10 million? That's
Correct.
a lot, right? A lot to take in. And if the audience, if you have an issue with receiving, because in your head, there are some people that think, well, what if somebody dies when I receive that money? What if I get sick? Well, then there's money to pay for those. What if, so they think they're trading their soul with the devil. Those are some of the objections, right? That's why they can't receive. Oh, my life is happy right now, so I'll just keep it as it is. So there's no such thing as status quo, because your breakfast yesterday, if you remember that, right? Are you eating the same food every single day? If you have some control issues and you like to just do the same thing over and over again, and that may be right for you, perfect. If you're a business owner, guess what? The only thing consistent every day is change.
Yep.
Nothing is really consistent unless you create those consistent habits for you to play with. So for me, if you're not having fun, you're really, it's not really like work, because I'm having fun. And I always tell my clients that your values, what's important to you, should not conflict with money. So as you make more money, it doesn't mean you don't give time for your children. You can have money, your dream life, with ease, grace, and flow if you live in a and also mentality rather than either or, like money or love, right?
Yep.
So Pam, what did you need to release? Like the biggest thing you had to release to really go with the flow?
I think for me, it's more personal. It's the fear, pretty
The
much all in
fear.
itself. So
Wow.
yeah, the fear and the doubt towards myself, not even to people around me. You know, like me not owning my space and me not taking charge of my own life. So
Mm,
so when I surrendered that and took control towards myself and out, you know, not from anyone else, that's when it started to change. Even now, like you tell me something, right? I'm like, do I want to let go? I was like, no, just do it, you know, because time and time
oh,
again, you
here we
tell
go
me
again.
something, a week later, it's like, I should have listened to her, you know? So I just, even today, you know, I'm going to be honest, like, I really want, I want to keep, you know, I want to be hidden. I don't want to like be out there right now. But, you know, I made a decision, you know, I told you last night, I'm going to be
Thank
on
you.
here. So I'm honoring my integrity, which is something that you have taught me really well, is honor what you said and just, whether you like it or not, you know, honor what you have said and just do it. So
Yes, thank you. Thank you for gracing this show and sharing your journey with the audience. And I'm
you're
sure
welcome.
they love those moments, right? It's funny, like we gravitate towards those negative moments because everybody has it, right? I had it too.
Yeah.
Life is not rosy every single day, you guys. The thing is, can you switch it, right? I just told you, Mercury retrograde. And when I woke up, I said, how come it's so heavy? And what do? Nature, right? Go to the park because the beach is kind of a little bit far away for me to process there. So I said, okay, what's the next best thing? Nature walk. So I just went to the park, experienced the grandness of the sky, the earth, the trees, right? So that's what you have to find a way for you to flip your switch, right?
Yeah.
When you're not feeling good, like, okay, what do I do to feel better right now? Because we only have 17 seconds to attract the emotion we're feeling. So if you're feeling heavy, for sure you're gonna have more problems and challenges later because you decided to wallow in that a little bit. Do you have to take a nap, right? Do you have to sleep? Go for it, right? Schedule things accordingly. So that's the planning part. And that comes with this territory. The more you start making money in the 6, 7, 8 plus figures, what would happen is you can actually decide what you want to do with your time. So even if you're not doing that now, if you're not making that much, you can still decide to have that change like installed in your daily activities, literally. Because if they can do it, you can do it too, right? So I always ask my Gold VIP clients, so how would your seven-figure self handle this right now? And then they go, oh, yeah, I have to stand up tall, and a solution is at hand, right? Awesome, no problem. Okay, so thank you, Pam. And I would
Welcome.
like
Thank you.
to ask the audience now, right? Some of the things that perhaps you can release in your life. Because think about this, if you have like a beautiful home, you already have your beautiful furniture, but in your head, you wanted to change something. So you're not gonna buy another set of furnitures and put it on top of your old furnitures. Are you gonna do it that way? Right? So we have to release the old furnitures that perhaps if you really don't want to let that go, right? You have an attachment, you can put it on storage and say, I want to see what happens to this space when I start putting in brand new furnitures. Okay, good. So then you could do that. But you have a choice of replacing what you have with something new. If you don't clean up, if you don't declutter, like look at 2020, we have the whole 2020 for majority of people, they're running that timeline of COVID, sickness, fear. So if you're in that path, most likely you experience everything that went with that. You're watching the news all the time. You're like in a treadmill of news. You're feeling some symptoms, right? And then you start getting scared that you might have it. That's your own timeline that you're running. So you chose to participate in that timeline. So the question is, my Gold VIP people decided to do something else during that whole COVID time. We are actually focusing on what's our sole purpose? Is it aligned with making money? How can we help more people at this time? How can we change a system that's not working very well? So then that's what we were busy doing during March until today. And I can tell you that my clients have had tremendous transformation. In fact, my special guest last week, Venus, she moved to 3 states pretty much in 2 months, right? And it was fascinating to see how she just puts herself together and just go, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. Joanne, your business partner, how she just kind of went with her strength and her gifts and talents as a manifesting generator and just go for it, right? And she's so happy. Her child calls her the millionaire mom now, like so that's good. All right, so back to the audience. What will you release? So answer these questions and let's see if you can release these things. Number 1, where in your life is your spirit expressing the need for change? So just feel your body right now and then see or sense, are you having chest pain? Are you having back pain? Like something needs to change. Your body is the barometer for this pain or whatever symptoms you're feeling, right? Number 2, in what ways are you out of touch with your feelings? I know, Pam, in the past, you probably do this. Let's say you're feeling like, I need to do something. What did you do in the past when you didn't know all of these principles you've learned?
I'm marinated in bed. Just think and overthink and overthink.
Right.
So it just kept me in that loop.
So instead of feeling, you went to your head. You started thinking. Okay.
Correct.
Instead of, my body doesn't feel good, maybe it needs something. So now what do you do differently? When you're feeling uncomfortable, what do you do with this body now, with this feeling?
I do grounding. So I find, I have to release whatever it is that's causing it and go take nature walks or go out and go get some fresh air.
Right. Yeah. So it's a different mindset now. Yep. Good. All right.
Yeah.
So
I don't dwell on the thoughts anymore.
Awesome. So are you afraid of the changes your spirit is urging you to make? Because sometimes It is confronting your partner and saying the things that maybe you're thinking, oh, what is he going to say if I say that, right? You're sacrificing your own happiness because you're thinking that the other person may be offended or hurt. By the way, if you're in that moment, I usually pray, be quiet, I connect to God, and I ask, is this the right time to say this to this person? Sometimes timing is everything, right? Especially with me, I'm pretty blunt. I say it like it is. Because when they're not ready to hear what I'm about to say, they don't like me very much, right? So then that puts up more wall. So you do have to have the right timing. You learn that as you become quiet instead of your mind running the show. I tell them that the mind's like a dog. You have to put it down, right? Like not above your shoulder. The dog, when you have the leash, right? The dog doesn't lead you. You lead the dog. You lead your mind where it goes. So if you're afraid, but you keep on holding back your truth because you're afraid they're going to get hurt, you're treating them like a child. Oh, like this child cannot handle this. They don't have tools. So I'm not going to say it. But at the same time, you keep on crushing your spirit down to the point that you're hidden. That's why you don't want to be seen. So you do the same thing in business. You hide. You say, I'm doing all these things, but energetically, you really want to hide. You don't want any clients. You said you don't have money, but you really don't want to show up to begin with because you're afraid that when you ask for really how much your value and worth is, you might get scared or they might reject you, right, Pam? Yeah. Rejection. I tell people, hey, when you get a no, it's good. You're almost ready to get a yes. So celebrate. Yes, I got another no. I got another no. I know that's a very big mindset shift, right? And then 4, who would be affected the most when you make this change? Let's say you listen to your spirit, your higher guidance, and then you go, oh, my kids, my career, my relationship with this person. She might not be my friend anymore, right?
Yep.
But you're not acting like your own best friend either. So that's really sad. That's really sad.
Correct.
So my big question to you is, do you feel authentic with who you are right now? And if you're not, there's parts of us, right? It's like I said, this change, this surrender, it doesn't happen like you just heard me say this and tomorrow. I know it cuts through your bone, but it doesn't mean you're going to change immediately, right? It's in stages because there's parts of us that can't own that space yet. And you have to be okay with that. Now, if you guys are ready to really shift, coming up is I wanted to entertain questions and comments, right? I would love to hear you out. Perhaps there's something there that you wanted to say, but maybe you're afraid to say it. My clients are used to me asking them those burning questions, and then they just stand up, and then they're like, oh yeah, I got it. All right, so let's hear from the audience and see what's, Pam, at this time in your development, right? Do you have any questions still that come up for you?
I think more is when obviously I still get the fear and the doubt, but what I like is, well, now that I'm more conscious and aware, like I said, maybe 5 seconds and that's all they get. I was like, move on,
Okay, so you entertain the fear for
just
a short
little
time,
bit, but it's getting to a point where, you know what, whatever, let's keep moving.
Got it. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so we have a question from Lisa. Does the loop come from past experiences, family, or generational? Good question, Lisa. So the negative loop, yes, it usually comes from programming. We call that programming. So it's a repeated thought pattern because it's kind of like when you're paving the highway, the freeway, we put asphalt and they have to lay it down a few times, right? So let's say your mother said, brush your teeth. And, if you're a rebellious kid, you just don't, I don't want to do that. What's that for? If you never explain to me, right, what it is for. However, if you keep on telling me and then I get irritated because I'm hearing it all the time, I might as well just do it just to calm you down or to pacify you, or I don't want to hear the voice anymore, right? So because of repetition, so now I just brush my teeth usually at a certain time, right? When you after breakfast, at lunch, before going to bed, after dinner, like you now have a rhythm. So yes, that's from a repeated program. So it's what we have observed in the family, what we've heard, what we've seen. It's like monkey see, monkey do, especially during our formative years. That's the time that we truly have those programs. So when our mind starts to think about what is the meaning of that, like we attach a meaning, that's why money is such a trigger, because we attach a meaning when, let's say, our parents are fighting. So we think now that, oh, when there's money involved, there's fights. Like that's how our brain connects 1 + 1 = 2. And if it happens consistently, it's like, oh, when we were young, let's say your mother said, oh, when we didn't have a lot of money, we were loving each other, because you went through all the pain and the difficulty. And now that we have more money, it seems like we're just fighting. We don't talk anymore. So you start to, again, add 1 + 1 = 2. So some of them is from past life experiences, unfortunately. So the negative loop it's a pattern of like, how do you react or respond to something? So once we create a space, right? A space between our right brain, emotional brain, and our left brain, then our intuition, our personal body has a lot more space to get like a guidance system from a higher truth rather than from the mind that keeps on looping. The mind's not supposed to make decisions. The inner authority, based on human design, is supposed to make decisions, not the mind. So like Pam and Catherine, actually, they both happen to be projectors, right? Projectors in human design need to be invited. They cannot just barge in a community thinking that everything's going to be okay because they know and they could just see the process and give us strategies. A projector, their minds are super active in a way that they can like look at the whole scene and know what's the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. But if they're not invited, they're going to be rejected all the time. So they don't feel good. Versus, right, Pam? What happens, yeah, Pam, when you were finally invited and you were able to do your magic?
Yeah, things just flow. I don't have to, I feel like sometimes I'm giving information for free and it's not the right people. So, but when I'm invited, they're open to what I say. And there's a more ease and flow in the conversation, and, whatever it is that we're going to do, we achieve what we need to achieve.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Shifra said she is aware of her feelings. Good job, Shifra. That's beautiful. Venus. Pam, what things will you do differently when you reach that monetary success you've always asked for? Very good question.
Oh, is that for me?
Yes.
Well, let's get Venus there. Let's get some business going. It's more of a... It's funny because Vivian and I talked about this last night. It's not to keep, that's for sure. It's more of, the overflowing of sharing this success, the feeling of it, the money, how I can be of service to others moving forward. Yeah. So it's not more for me. It's more of, we're laying foundation and creating a school, right? Helping those that are, I think for me, it's more for the children and also for the elderly. So that's kind of where I want to see me working and how I can help out that, those communities.
And I wanted to share that with the audience, how important that is, because you're probably thinking, well, look at those rich people. They always just give money away, right? Think about it as a money container. So I gave this as an example yesterday. So everybody, if you turn on your faucet, let's say in your kitchen, and then you cover the drain, right? What would happen to the water? It'll overflow. So now if it overflows, where does the water go? Well, you don't know. because water is like emotion. It's energy. It just moves wherever, right? And I said, so how are you going to clean up and contain this water? So if you have a plan, like there's a forward option already, a purpose for this container, for this money, it's going to go somewhere. Well, don't you think the universe heard you? The universe will definitely hear you and deliver that to you. So if you realize that you couldn't stop this water, like you couldn't turn off the faucet no matter what you do, right? Let's say it's stuck on open, and there's money flowing all the time. You need to create this container. So I got that download over the weekend that we're supposed to create a school for kids with purpose, like so that by the time they're 13, they know exactly what to do with their life. You know, are they a philanthropist? Are they a manager? Are they a marketer? Are they a strategist? What are they, right? Are they in production? So when you know what you're supposed to do, that's easy. You could just bring the child all this opportunity to make that happen, because you know that's the skill based on that human design.
Correct.
So you can create like a pathway for the water, because you know it's going to overflow anyway. So create it now. So as soon as Monday came, I shared it with my staff during the weekly meeting. I started calling people that I know who would open up schools, or they know a little bit of, they know some things about how do you do that, right? So you notice when I get a divine download, that's the difference. I act on it right away. I go, Pam, come on, let's have a meeting at Monday at 8 o'clock. And then she goes, already? Yes, because it's happening soon, right? So people always go in the negative and say, well, it's not here yet, so I'm not going to do it. Well, what if it's here tomorrow? What are you going to do about it? So we build the foundation and the blocks based on, it's like when God promises you something, I act on that immediately. I don't wait. What am I waiting for? Because we don't know if tomorrow I'm gone. However, if I've done the steps, somebody can continue that if they're really like dedicated to make that happen, right? That's how I move. So
yeah, and Venus, can I just say,
go ahead.
I'm still gonna be the same me, so it's not gonna change. So
karaoke night.
Yeah. So it's still gonna be me. You can still hang out. But
awesome. Good. Yeah. Amy says, what is the fine line between generational wisdom and generational wounds? Oh, that's a very good question, Amy. How do we heal from traumas from our ancestors but still carry on important lessons? So I notice, Amy, when I'm doing healing, so since I can see all these energies, and these generational wounds just means there was some form of a trauma that your ancestors, like grandmother, either mother, father, grandmother, sometimes not just from a generation ago, but from a lifetime of generations. So I see this as either a cord, and the cord comes in different sizes, right? So the most active part of the cord is the middle part, and it's usually attached to the person. So let's say Pam, may I use you as an example?
Sure.
So let's say the person feels like they're not having any power. They're not empowered to make a decision. In other words, for example, she needs to attend a meeting. However, her mother would go, oh, Pam, I'm sick. You need to take me to the doctor, right? So that's one example. So then you're like, oh, am I going to the meeting because this is about making money? Or is this about taking care of my mother? So in your mind, right, Pam, there's a division. It's almost like, am I going left or am I going right? But your brain has two sides. So it's thinking either or. Instead of, if you ask, okay, how can I accommodate both appointments in one day? You can ask that question. So then you can integrate the two and say, hey, Mom, I'll call the doctor now. It says they're not available until 5 o'clock, because the first thing in the head is worry and stress, right? Oh, does that mean she needs it now? But when you call the doctor, they don't have any opening. So it's kind of useless to go there. The appointment is at 4 or 5, right? So you can still attend the meeting, let's say, because it's at 1 o'clock. So you were able to accommodate both, right? So the generational wounds, it would look like, hey, I have a problem process this for me, please, right? That's how it looks like through that cord. Sometimes it looks like a miasm, almost miasm. It means like a sickness that your ancestors had from centuries and generations ago, decades ago, and it's coming back now in this particular lifetime. So that means you're processing their problem. So if, let's say, they had high blood pressure, you also have high blood pressure. They have diabetes, you also have diabetes. You notice that? Like if they have back pain, you also have back pain. Like that's how the generational wounds get passed on generation to generation. So I tell people that are doing healing, because it only takes one person to do a healing, and the people before them and after them, like their children, actually shift. So when you recognize that there's a wound, right, a wound, you identify if it's yours or not yours. If it's not yours, you have to release it, right? I return them to their higher self, because somehow when they died, they didn't quite know how to deal with it. They didn't process it. So almost like they're asking your help. Can you help me get rid of this? Because otherwise your children will start to get the same thing they had. That's how rape, sexual molestation, all these abuses that we think is like just happening to you now, it was from generations of the trauma that has been passed on to you over and over again. So if you decide that you're going to shift that now, that becomes a generational wisdom, because you identified it's not yours, yet it's affecting you in present time. Hence, you can change that and ask for higher truth to help you release that and shift it to something more beautiful. So then your daughter, your children don't have to keep on living the negativity over and over again. Wow, that's kind of deep. I think I went there somewhere, but that was a very good question. Super good question. All right. Amy, oh, so it's about cutting the cord so I can hear my own thoughts without anyone else intruding. Yes. Even by the end of the night, I again shared this with my clients. Your space is sacred. Your body, your space, your energy field is sacred. You need to unplug from everyone, including your family, when you go to bed. Otherwise, if you keep on processing their problem, what's going to happen is they always run to you. That's normal when it's a kid, right? Their root chakra is literally connected to your root chakra, usually until about 13 years old. And then you have to let them go. So because they have to learn how to make their own money, how to survive, how to be healthy, right? To be well without your input, without your energy. Otherwise, it's a codependent relationship all throughout, even if they're married. What if you have a difficult relationship with money in the past? So good question, Lisa. So that doesn't have to be your present. So your past doesn't have to be your present. So I usually have my past and my future like in two separate bubbles to make sure that they have space. And you know, when you're watching TV, you don't watch 3 movies, 3 screens, right, at the same time. However, for those of you that are healers that can open so many fields, you usually do that. You open too many things. And then you're like, are you using this episode? Or are you watching this episode or that episode? And sometimes it's not 3 episodes open. It's like 1,000 episodes you're watching at the same time. Hence, you're not grounded, right? And hence, you're sometimes confused and undecided because of too many episodes that's open. So we tell people to close projects, like tomorrow there's still work, right? Tomorrow there's always going to be work. Today you got to finish it. So I usually do a journal and I put success because I want to end my day with success. And then I just write down what successful item I've done for the day. And then I close that and I make sure I say bye-bye, right, to my clients, unplug from everybody and just be within me by myself when I sleep so I can rejuvenate. Cool. Awesome. I think we're Almost there, right? So I wanted to, a great analogy, Shifra. Yeah, thank you, Shifra, for that. So I wanted to invite all of you. Yes, yes, because this coming Friday, so we have an Up Level 2020. And so this is a way for you to declutter. Normally, what I do in October, you know, the most successful organizations, even, they plan around October, November. So we declutter all the energetics of 2020, what's affecting you. That's what we're doing. And then I'm going to teach you how to intuitively sense 2021. Because when you know, you have a little container to process that, or a big container, however big you want it to be. This is about releasing, refocus, and recover. So if you go to uplevel2020.com, we have so much in store for you. This is actually a spiritual business healing. And Pam, can you share with them what happened to you after the first, she attended March, right? So this was designed to help you every 90 days. So March was when she first decided, I guess I'm going to attend this thing, right?
Yeah.
And what happened to you?
Well, it was more improvement for myself. So it's a lot of I don't know, deleting all this negative or programming that I've gotten for since the beginning of me, I guess. So a lot of that really is just cleaning up like the ancestor or generational information that needed to come out. A lot of it too is myself. So that first quarter was really more about me. And then once all of those cleared up, then the next up level was totally different. I was present and I was ready to move forward. And then the goal starts coming in. The decision is much better, and like just excited for what's whatever is coming and the great things to come.
So as you notice, it's that feeling, right? She had the decision first, and then the emotion with it came, because she doesn't know what's going to come. Nobody knows, by the way, because we're not God, okay? Nobody knows. And I think that's where the beauty of that is, I have this gate of abundance and gate of prosperity both present in my own human design. So people who are looking for that actually also feel it, just being around me, right? So we don't know what was, we did set a goal for them, but it's interesting because somehow it's either they did not, like the pen just slipped and somehow added 3 digits to the millions instead of just 1 million, 2 million, right? And it's so fascinating how it started moving towards that direction. So that's very unconscious on their part when they decided that, but somehow the pen wrote a lot of numbers, right? And first they were like in shock, like, what's that? Even I was in shock, when things are happening for them. But at the same time, I'm so excited because you know how when the basic needs are taken care of, we don't really need a lot, you guys. What is that? Food, clothing, shelter. However, what can you do with this amount of money when you can actually help more people? It's really about that at that point, right? So because Pam's human design is more towards philanthropy. Yeah. Well, if she looks at her bank account in the beginning, she's like, well, I don't know how to do that. Like, how am I going to do that? I can't even do this basic stuff. However, when she focused, see, the focus and the clarity went there. You see how it shifted? So it's all about energy, you guys. So even if you think that you're going to make $1 million, but inside of you, you have all these, like, you're pushing the brake, but then you're pushing the gas and you're pushing the clutch, it's not going to go because there's this internal struggle, and you need to clear that, right? So that you can be present. And we're going to give you those practical tools because we go spiritual, emotional, practical. Here we go. And then we all take off. So I want to thank you all today for participating in the show. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, for all the fun things that happened. It's really a great experience. I can't describe it. It's just magical is what I call it, right? That's that. So
Someday.
I'll see you again next week, Wednesday, on this My Spiritual Money RX. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. My Spiritual Money RX. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.